everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Education Series produced by the Australian Fitness Academy. It's like progressive overload for your brain. I'm your host, Tom Rock, and in today's episode, I want to talk about the Norwegian Protocol. And this one's getting a little bit more of a run around social media these days and making a bit of a resurgence, but it's quite an old cardiovascular training method. When I say old, it's sort of been in the research since the early 2000s, and I'll put one research paper in the podcast description. If you want to have a looked at this Norwegian, what they call or what is termed the Norwegian Protocol, basically just because a lot of the research that initially started on it come out of Norway. So it's around improving VO2 max and cardiovascular health, and it's a method where it's relatively straightforward and simple. So it's basically 4 times 4 minute intervals with 3 minutes rest in between each interval. And you basically do those 4 minute, that 4 minutes worth of work at, it's going to be around 85 to 90% of your max heart rate. But ideally, you're just working for as hard as you can or at a level you can sustain maximally for 4 minutes. So as hard as you can work continuously for 4 minutes. So you do that 4 times. So 4 minutes, 4 times with 3 minutes break in between each interval. And that's the Norwegian method. And that works out to a cardiovascular exercise aimed to improve VO2 max. And it's probably initially looking at interval training and the benefits of interval training for improving VO2 max. And that's what this study link sort of looks at. It looks at long, slow, continuous training versus sort of extensive intervals versus like 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off versus this 4 times 4 protocol, which I've seen talked about lately, which is really, really cool. And I think in terms of improving VO2 max, a lot of research on this has also been done in cardiovascular patients who are returning from cardiovascular disease and these sorts of things. And it's been shown to work quite well with them in improving cardiovascular function. So it can be applied to a range of different spectrum of clients. Obviously, if you're implementing it with clients, definitely make sure they're fit and able. And it can be something you might want to work up to as well. However, it's going to be relatively self-limiting. So however hard you can work, you're going to work to that 85 to 90% of your max heart rate. And that's going to take a different level of work for an unfit client versus a fitter client. So if we're doing it, say, running, a fit client might be running at 12 or 13 kilometers an hour to hit that intensity, whereas someone who's not quite as fit may be doing a really fast walk or running only at 5 or 6 kilometers an hour, or sort of hitting that intensity or hitting that heart rate at a lower intensity at work, but they can still complete the 4 times 4 protocol and it will relate to them. And it's an easy one to administer like that or put into your own training program yourself because it can be used across different modes as well. So it's not like if you want to run, you can do it running, you can do it cycling. I know people have done it on the assault bikes before as well, even on a rowing machine. So it can be used across lots of different modes, I think, which makes it really versatile. And it can be a simple session to follow and implement. So if someone's looking to improve their cardiovascular health and function, they don't need to think too much about, how far should I run, or do a really long, extensive run and look to do sort of longer, slow distance, but have to be exercising for 40, 45 minutes at that lower intensity. Sometimes hitting that higher intensity efforts are very beneficial for improving VO2 max and improving cardiovascular function. So you can get a really, really good workout with 4 times 4 minutes of efforts. So, which is really, really cool. Basically 16 minutes of work and you're getting a solid workout. So it's something to consider. I think it also allows you to progress or depending on what mode of exercise. If you're doing it running, you can look at, how far am I running in 4 minutes? And then over a period of time, as you keep completing this 2, potentially 3 times a week, you might see initially you might be running, 800 meters in 4 minutes. And then in 2 or 3 months' time, you find you're actually getting closer to a kilometer for each of those intervals. So as long as you're sort of pushing as hard as you can for those 4 minutes, you can sort of measure improvements based on distance or work volume that you're getting in within those 4 minutes, based on if it's on a cycle ergometer, running or rower. Just look at the amount of work, or you don't even need to track it. If you're doing it consistently over time and pushing to that correct intensity, you know you're going to be slowly getting better and improving. And as you get fitter, you'll just be working harder or a higher intensity for that 4 minutes, which is really, really cool. So I think it's a really good protocol to mix in. It doesn't have to be the be-all and end-all of your training program. There's definitely circumstances if your training is more specific to an individual event, like a triathlon or a fun run, or you're trying to get to a 10K run, or more of a sporting performance, and it's related to maybe AFL or tennis or soccer or netball. Your aerobic training or your cardiovascular training might need to be, or you could be more sport specific in it, given this is quite a general protocol to implement. However, mixed among a general program that also includes potentially some long, slow distance, or maybe even some sprint efforts, higher intensity efforts for shorter durations. There's lots of different benefits to other styles of training, other styles of running, other intensities, working at other intensities. I just think I just seen this resurgence, I guess, of this Norwegian protocol, and it's a really cool one to sort of play around with. Give it a try yourself, see how you feel doing it, and then it's one that you might think, oh, I enjoy that. So on the odd run where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do long, slow distance, I don't really want to do sprints or these short intervals, I might just do a 4x4 protocol and see how it goes. And it can be one just to have in your arsenal to go back to if you're ever looking for a little session that's going to take you probably 20 to 30 minutes to fit it in, and then you're back to your day, and you know that it's going to have that benefit and that ability to prove cardiovascular health, as well as that VO2 max, which is a good measure of longevity and health and things like that, is going to play a big part. So yeah, just wanted to sort of give you my thoughts on the Norwegian protocol and a 4x4 minute effort as a little cardiovascular tool to give it a try. If you do give it a shot, let me know how you feel. Again, potentially just do 2 efforts, 4x2, 4 minutes times twice, and then sort of can build up if it's a lot, because 4 minutes flat out, it's not necessarily an easy protocol. You'll still be gassed at the end of it. At the end of that last 4 minute effort, you'll feel pretty cooked, but again, you'll be able to recover, and generally doing it 2 to 3 times a week, and you can see good results in improvements in VO2 max and cardiovascular efficiency. So yeah, a really cool little protocol that you can run out and give a try on a bike, rower, or running. Obviously, keep in mind your fitness levels and things like that, and push to your own intensity. But yeah, a fun little protocol to try out, and delve into some research if you want. There's lots of research on interval training out there. So yeah, give it a shot. Let me know how you go. If you have any thoughts on this episode or after running it, running the protocol, send an email to tom@afa.com.au. Or if you have any other topics or questions you'd like me to cover or discuss, send me an email as well. Always happy to cover anything you guys want to hear me chat about. Other than that, guys, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you all soon.